Hey, Ricky. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Surviving, healthy, happy, working on things. So pretty good. How about you?
Looks like you're home. Or
Yeah,
working from home.
yeah. I've been working from home here. Well, I'm going in Mondays still. So my job is considered essential and whatnot. So go in when I have to, but generally stay home and do as much as I can to then keep inside my room and stay away from people while I'm home, just in case I was exposed or something like that. So taking all the precautions I can.
Sounds good. How's the rest of
Yeah.
the team?
Pretty good. We've had some scares here and there. I don't know about you guys, but when we have a strenuous couple weeks of build leading up to things, everyone puts themselves through the ringer, and then everyone's tired and susceptible to getting sick, and like half the team got sick or more, I guess. But a bunch of us got sick in rapid succession, and each time we're like, "Oh, is this the end? Are we all dead?" And it's all just been regular colds. We think either way, we're still isolating and all the things you're supposed to do. But as soon as someone calls, be like, "Yeah, I had a fever," we all get real nervous for 24 hours until they realize it was just bad Chinese food or whatever it was that day.
Yeah, fever is scary words nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would imagine that we're going to have some questionable taste robot names coming through after this whole epidemic. I'm not going to venture, but I'm sure people online will come up with all sorts of crazy takes. But
Oh boy.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure the internet's a scary place.
yeah, it's true. It's scary times for scary people.
So we haven't seen you since BattleBots. Oh, I guess we saw you at Robot Ruckus, right?
Yeah, down in Florida. It's that easy to forget, huh? But no, you guys were, you in particular actually were trying to hunt down spare parts for me. So
yeah.
that was super appreciated. It ended up, well, everyone down at Robot Ruckus is super helpful. So we had, I think, 5 different teams coming in and trying to help and looking for parts to help us out. And it finally ended up that team already broke, Dominic and his wife and all them. They were like 2 hours into a road trip looking for parts on their own, and they're like, "Hey, we found these parts. Maybe they help you, maybe they don't." And like, well, maybe some of them will. It's like, too late. We've already bought all of them. We're bringing them back. And sure enough, not only were they exactly what we needed, but he's like an industrial welder, I think. Pardon me, Dominic, if I got that wrong, but something like that, where he's very talented. So he's like, "Yeah, I'll weld them on your robot, no problem." And yeah,
awesome.
So
yeah, robotics community is amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenally helpful people, and everyone's excited, and you really can't ask for more. So yeah, how about you guys? How's Florida? Tell me all about Florida, please, because the news is one thing, but straight dope, straight from the source would be just feed my internet meme understanding of what Florida is like.
We're in Miami, Florida, so we're probably in the worst of it if I had to guess. But we're not on the beach. We haven't been to Miami Beach.
So you're sane, is what you're telling me, is that you're not crazy people.
Yeah, I stay
in that
away
particular
from
way
under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
So I don't go over there when there's a pandemic. That's for sure.
But this all has aligned with spring break, so there were a lot of spring breakers in Miami. I actually had a friend from New York get in touch with me, and say he was here for spring break. He was on the beach, he had nothing to do, and he wanted to come by the makerspace. And I was like, no, the makerspace is closed. I'm glad you're nearby, but we're still going to say hi through Messenger. So
yeah, ouch.
But yeah, there's a lot of people in town. Yeah.
I hope that guy and everybody else, like, the fewer those people that lucked out, the better. Which I know there's a lot of I hope those people get sick. Like, none of those people, please. No, none of you people, go home, take care of yourself, stay away from people. Don't do anything stupid, please.
But we saw live footage of the beaches too, and it looked insane.
Oh, really?
Thousands of people on the beach, just
like the beaches are never like that unless it's spring break, and it was just like it was nothing else going on.
Do you think there was like a little aspect of, this is the end of the world, we're going to party a little extra hard?
Maybe. I think there was a lot of people who spent, time and money and took vacation or whatever to get down here for spring break. So they said, whatever.
Really?
Screw it. I'm going to live life. but until they're not living life anymore, then they're dead.
Yeah, well, oof, yeah. Hopefully they're all okay, as best you can hope for.
Hopefully they're not spreading coronavirus anywhere else.
Yeah, but in general, like around where we live, we've definitely noticed less traffic around. There's still people out and about, but not nearly as many as there normally would be.
Yeah. It's been strange in Maryland. So I'm in the Baltimore suburbs basically, and I've got family and team members and whatnot in the DC suburbs. So I'm going back and forth a bunch, and you can imagine the kind of traffic that usually goes along with that. And now it's just replaced with, ominous signs of like save lives, stay home, and that sort of thing. And it's not that it's dead out, but it's a little ominous, at least. That's probably the best word for it. Probably not scary, not crazy, but ominous. And
yeah, a reminder that things are different.
Yeah. It definitely seems more like a weekend. Like during the week, you drive around, usually in Miami, and it's pretty much bumper to bumper traffic all the time. But now it kind of seems almost more like a weekend. There's probably like 50% less traffic out. It's kind of nice, actually. But yeah, and I think all the restaurants and stuff are closed and available for takeout only here. So it's definitely people. It's been obviously a lot of business have been affected and stuff, but people
I will say people are rising to the takeout challenge around here. So it's a lot of restaurants have just they've done some sort of makeshift pickup outside window where you can walk up, and I've never seen more dog walkers in my life. I think everybody's working from home, so they need a little outside time, and they're all being pretty good about it. They're keeping the 6 foot distance. I mean, Fluffy and Fido might not be keeping 6 foot distance, but people are doing a pretty good job, and I don't know. I'm proud everyone's keeping their spirits together at least. So
yeah, same here. I hope this thing's over with soon. I hope this thing's over with soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, we have some robots to fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least we've got CAD and workshops to retreat into. At least most of us do. So
you guys have posted some pretty awesome upgrades to Mammoth. Suplexing a refrigerator and all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, we're pretty excited for all that, and a little piece of us is grateful for the extra testing time, because we kind of threw the kitchen sink at new aspects to the robot. I mean, we changed everything you can change without the robot looking like a different robot. So it's really from the ground up. It's a new chassis. It's a new drive motors, new weapon motors, new power sources. Everything's new. So definitely looking forward to throwing some things around in parking lots and getting that last little bit of testing. And I don't think anyone will have any trouble heeding threats to say 6 feet away with the robot running around. So we're a little lucky with Mammoth in that it's relatively safe to test it full power out in a parking lot without having to worry about killing people. The weapon tip speed is this year we're actually a little slower than last year. So I think this year we're at 22, 23 miles an hour, something like that.
Cool.
But we got, there's a bunch more torque behind it, which was really the secret to getting those big lifts and throws that you were seeing. And the side effect of that is that likely the fastest thing that's going to come flying off the robot is in that 20 or 30 mile an hour range, which a good pair of safety glasses and 10, 15, well, more than that, 20, 30 feet of distance is sufficient to keep you safe. It's not quite as bad as the spinners and whatnot, safety wise.
So did you get to test some of those upgrades on the Mammoth that you had at Robot Ruckus?
It's kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. So the only thing that we did for the Mammoth at Ruckus, we did two things. There were two aspects to it. One is we added those front legs that you may have seen, the big UHMW front legs that come out. And those work pretty well. We were pretty pleased with them. They need to be a little bit longer and attached a little bit differently and that sort of thing. But they are there so that when we start going up against other spinners of whatever type, be it horizontal, vertical, whatever, we had the tusks last year, and they would get knocked off pretty quick. And then we either wouldn't be able to get someone up onto our danger zone of getting hit by the spinner, or maybe better, maybe worse, depending on who you are. We'd have a fight like we did with Uppercut, where we'd try and lift them up, but we wouldn't have anything out in front of us, so we would just get flipped over ourselves. So that's what those legs are there for, and they seem to work pretty well. The more exciting upgrade was the weapon motor. So we took last year's weapon motor, and it served us well and everything, but we threw it in the junk pile. We absolutely thrashed that thing to within an inch of its life. I mean, we got home, we had 3 of them, and each one of them had been used in 2 fights. And the gearboxes, when we opened them up, were just shredded. And the motors, the ones that weren't already completely burned to a crisp, were just like coated with black, nasty burn everything. So we decided we needed an upgrade. So I'm excited. We got in touch with Paul Ventimiglia, and he had some motors left over from Bite Force's 2 incarnations ago, the Season 2 Bite Force. We bought those motors, and we put those in Mammoth. And that was some of an upgrade in power, but we're also running them, I think, twice the voltage that Paul was running them at.
Oh, wow.
So 4 times the power-ish, which we can get away with because we only run it for a couple seconds at a time. It's not like him where he's spinning something all the time. Long story short, we're dumping 100 horsepower-ish into that weapon motor, and it seems to be doing the trick. The fights we had at Robot Ruckus were running at about 1/3 of the power that we ought to have at BattleBots this year.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, you were throwing robots pretty high up, so I'm excited.
yeah,
for that.
the biggest disappointment was we used some really poor quality gears for the first couple fights at Robot Ruckus. So the gearbox on the first hit in the first few fights just exploded. I mean, we've got some pictures. I think there's some pictures online of just like little pieces of sprockets and whatnot. And every time we would replace one, the next one up in the gear train would just explode. So eventually we replaced everything. We welded it all together for like good measure, and that seemed to be fine. And now that we're back, we've turned up the power more. We turned down the power there because that enclosure is it's seen better days, and we didn't want to throw someone through the walls. So
Safety is definitely important.
yeah. So we turned it down a little bit. Even now we're looking for a couple upgrades because we're shearing parts apart, and it would last a fight, but they're taking some abuse. So yeah, anyway, that is a long mouthful, but long story short, we got a whole bunch more power in the weapon and a couple of design changes that we tested out at Ruckus, and we doubled down on since Ruckus was over, and we're excited to try them out. So that's what you've seen. The other side of it is the thing I'm really excited for, and I've had to kind of drag the team along with me because, and they're right, it's not necessary in any world, but I've decided that Mammoth needs to be just blazingly fast. I mean, we needed a little bit of a speed upgrade, like another couple miles an hour would have been great, but I'm not sure what the fastest robot is this year, but you can only go so fast before tires can't move you any faster. Mm-hmm. And we should be hitting that speed this year if everything works out.
Big, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hilarious having something that large careening around like a chicken with its head cut off. So I'm pretty excited. I have no idea if it's going to be drivable. If not, I can always turn it down. But
right.
Mammoth is already really, really hard to drive. So
it looks hard to drive for what it's worth.
Yeah. I have the smaller models of the robot. I have Baby Shoes and Stiletto and the 12 and the 30-pound versions and whatnot. And this is the 4th iteration of Mammoth, essentially, that we're going to be fighting. Well, 5th, depending on how you count it. And I've gotten used to it, so I didn't really think anything of it. and a couple times I handed off the controller to, someone else on the team, and not that you can't pick it up in short order, but you just like they immediately smack into something. You're like, I didn't. The learning curve was lost on me, and it's not that I'm great at it. I've just had practice, But I'd love to do a switch off at BattleBots with someone and like give them a chance to just like try and, I don't know, circle a tire or something, because it's really a strange experience. But
Cool. I'm sure Will Bales would be up for that.
I would love not only to, well, that's what we need to do. First, a HyperShock Mammoth race would make my heart go pitter patter. And then a HyperShock Mammoth race where we switch drivers.
That's the one I want to see.
Yeah. Like
You
I don't
do
know.
that one first.
Yeah, that's what I'd love. So, yeah,
Awesome.
open to ideas, Will. I'm sure you're watching. He's probably not watching. He's probably got all of his robot to finish right now, I imagine.
That's a good.
Or start. Will maybe
Start. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You got to start to finish it. So
We'll
he's
see.
0% done, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. You guys seem like you were pretty much good to go. When the announcement was coming in. Is that a step too far, or is that about right?
Yeah. The timing, we were pretty much on track to finish for the ship date or before the ship date. So we had 2 robots almost fully assembled. We were painting spares and doing odds and ends, little things like spacers and a couple spare parts, machining those. But then everything got postponed, so I was like, well, maybe we don't really have to push as hard. Everybody is on our team is pretty much self-quarantining at this point, so the progress on the robots basically stopped. But whenever BattleBots decides to come back, I think we're in good shape.
Did we lose you? You're frozen on our end. Well, if you can hear us, thanks for chatting with us.
A little while, but
Okay.
We lost you again.
We lost you again.
Oh.